Welcome to chemistry. This is a brief guide how to write your chemistry lab report. Sometimes teachers will tell you that you can skip some parts of it and not mention them in your report, but this presentation will show you all the different parts of a proper lab report. First of all, before measuring, you need a title of your lab. The most important thing is to actually know what you have to do. This should be clear from the written purpose of the lab. Write a clear sentence which states the specific purpose of the experiment. Why did you do this experiment? What was the reason of this experiment? Next, you need to understand what your variables are. There are three types of variables: the independent variable, the dependent variable, and the control variable. The independent variable is the one we change. It will show on the x-axis. The dependent variable is the one we measure. It changes as we manipulate the independent variable. Therefore, it is dependent on the independent manipulated variable. The control variables are all the variables that are constant around us while doing the experiment, like the light in the room, temperature in the room, or etc. Before you measure, you should also state your hypothesis. This is your educated guess of what the result of the experiment will be like. Use your independent and dependent variable to explain your hypothesis. So for example, if I open the faucet, then it will increase the flow of water. Here, the opening of the faucet is my independent variable, and the flow of water is my dependent variable. Next, you should also always list all the equipment you needed to use, like the beaker or the scale, the balance, and explain what your procedure was like. Imagine you were giving instructions to someone else how to do this experiment, so list all the steps you took while conducting it. When you have done that, you need to show all the results you collected. Enter all observations and data in a neat and orderly manner. Pay attention to units, headings, and do not process or explain data in this section. They will be explained right after. Do all calculations or use graphs and place them here. Graphs and figures must be labeled with a descriptive title. Label the axis and or on a graph. Be sure to include units of measurement. The independent variable is always on the x-axis. The dependent variable, the one you're measuring, is always on the y-axis. Be sure to refer to figures and graphs in the text of your report. The first figure is figure 1, the second figure is figure 2, etc. The next part is the discussion of your results, where you should answer your stated questions and comment on them. And the final part of your report is the conclusion. Here, first, you should write a clear, concise sentence, or maybe two, which answer the purpose by stating the key results. Second, discuss the significance of your results. What do they mean? Your conclusions must relate to your stated purpose or objectives. Tell the reader to what extent your objectives were realized. How do they relate to the purpose stated at the beginning of the report? Third, discuss the reliability of your results. Identify the sources of error and explain how they might have affected your results. The sources of error needs to be specific. Avoid using all the models like might have or could have. Be specific. Don't blame the error on human error or error in calculations. Try to make suggestions for improvement. So, a conclusion should ideally have 3 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, you focus on your key results and outcomes. In the second paragraph, you evaluate your experiment by discussing your sources of error. In the third paragraph, you focus on how you could make this experiment better. So ideally, your report should look something like this. A title which reflects the experiment, a clear purpose in the form of a question, introduction which states your previous knowledge of the subject matter, states your variables and your hypothesis, list of all equipment you used and the procedure you followed, results organized in tables and drawings, analysis of your results in graphs, and a discussion part where you answer your questions. And finally, the conclusion, summarizing your experiment. Before you turn your lab in, don't forget to check your spelling, your choice of language, your complete paragraphs or topic sentences, and whether you labeled everything correctly. I wish you very good luck doing your experiments and writing your reports.